So I bartended there because it was the .com era. So I could make like 300 to 400 a night cash because everyone was
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
25-year-old millionaires. And so, but all the so here I am, like in my late 30s, maybe 40, I don't know, but all the bartenders were 22, right? So, along with me. And so many people would come in for drinks and go, "Oh my God, you look like Macy on Bold and the Beautiful." And I watched no soap operas. I didn't know what they were talking about, but I think I got like a soap opera digest and looked and I go, "Oh, I kind of look like her," So I was thinking, now that my kids were getting a little bit older, I was thinking I could sneak down to LA, fly down and audition. And so I was going to try to get on Bold and the Beautiful. And a way to do that back in the day was they held these things called casting director classes where you could go and you could do like 3 weeks with the casting director of that particular soap.
Mm-hmm.
And so I signed up for it. We didn't really have email or anything like that yet. I was still getting the flyers mailed to me. So I would bring them in, and I had them on the bar and I'm like looking at when this next one's going to start. Every single 22-year-old guy goes, "Oh my God, no, get on Passions. It's hella cool." And so I go, "What's Passions?" And they go, "You want to be on that show?" They go, "It has a witch, a monkey, and a midget." And I go, "Okay, that's exactly why I don't want to be on the show."
That's right. We haven't gotten to the monkey yet.
Oh, that's all right.
That's okay though. It's
well, so I'm like, okay, I do not want to be on that show. I want to be on the glamorous, Bold and the Beautiful, and I want to be Macy's long lost sister. So I call the school, it's in Sherman Oaks. And I said, "Hi, I want to sign up for the Bold and the Beautiful class." And they go, "Oh, it's full, but we have one spot left in Passions." And I go, "Ugh," So I was bummed, but I thought, well, I'll do it. So it was a 3-week class. On the third week, you just went once a week for 3 weeks. On the third week, they set it up exactly like a soap. You got your sides, you got the lineup. You basically could like just show up for when your scene was going to be shot. He wanted to do it exactly like if you got on the soap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he asked me that day, like I didn't really feel like I knew him that well, and I wasn't really sure how I was doing in the class. And but I asked him, or he asked me, because I was one of the first ones up. I could have like left at 10 o'clock or whatever in the morning. And he said, "Would you stay with me throughout the day to help move lighting and all that?" And I thought, I should, because then we'll just make more of a networking effort.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, like at 4 o'clock, when we shot the last scene and we were putting all the lights away and all that stuff, he said, "I just think you're adorable. I love you. I'll definitely get you on the show."
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Well, like 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by, 6 weeks go by. I thought, okay, that was a line of bull. I'm not gonna get it. And so I'm actually pumping. I was in LA, I guess at the time. My pager goes off. That's how long ago this was. I called him, and I was pumping gas, and he said, "I want to offer you a role." He said, "I know you're Hispanic, and I don't want you to take this wrong." He said, "But it's for a housekeeper." He goes, "But even on soaps, the housekeepers need to be beautiful." And he goes, "I want to offer you the role." And so, but I was in shock, and I wasn't saying it. I was like biting my finger, and I was trying to act cool, but I was biting my finger. I just said, "Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll take it."
Gotta play it cool.
I was thinking, I'll be a couch on your show. I just want to be on the show. So it started out, I shot, like, what I was going to say is I ended up probably over the 4 years, maybe like in 30 episodes, but I shot maybe once every week, and it often got cut out or didn't even go to tape. I'd be there. I got paid. The reason being, and you guys have probably already seen some of this, because of the special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you seen special effects with Tabitha?
Yeah.
You would have had to explode something.
Yeah.
So
when she got turned into a fish.
Oh yeah.
So if I ever got like, I almost always had blocking at 7, and then I would go into hair and makeup, and then I would just like lounge around in my room until it was time for me to go up. But if I saw on the list that there was going to be special effects that day, I could if it was a normal day, I'd be out by noon. I could literally like fly home and pick my kids up from school in Alameda.
Oh wow.
But if it was a special effects day, I thought, I know I'm going to be here all day. I could be there till midnight, and then I could end up, we're going to cut your scene, and I drive home at midnight.
Yeah. After your scene was cut. Yeah.
So that happened a lot. but it's funny because at that time, I believe James Riley was working on a few shows, and I always got the feeling that he was back east, someplace not necessarily New York, but it was a team of writers in a room someplace else. And while you're on set, they're watching you. Even back then, they were piped in to see you. You couldn't see them, but they could see you.
Right.
And so when I would get my scripts, I could see that it was a day that I had a lot of lines and they were creating a storyline for me. So it meant that like one of the 5 writers liked me, like they're watching and they probably thought, oh, she's going to be cool to do this. And that would be whenever I went to shoot that, I was like so excited, learned all those lines. That would be a special effects day. And
Oh, man.
my lines would go down to, there's a
Oh,
fax
man.
for you. You'd walk out, So that's just, I know so many people that have worked on soaps and they go, oh my gosh, that happens all the time. Unless you are contract. I was recurring, they called, that was my contract. But unless you're like the contract players, like the ones that have the annual contracts, you're not really guaranteed a lot of screen time. So
Right.
So a lot of people, but not all of our audience, are kind of familiar with the really high demands for making a soap opera because I mean, it's an immense amount of content that's being put out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
How demanding is that, and how quickly was the turnaround of like even just producing a single day's episode? Was that all done in just like a day?
Pretty much. So these are very good questions. So Passions ran on their annual schedule was they wanted everybody, like the contract players, to have the whole month of July off.
Okay.
So they shot like 6 episodes a week. So they had that one parked.
Right.
And they have that, or they had enough so that everybody could take off.
Right.
And then come back and resume. So I had only worked on movies or like episodic television, like single, like 1-hour dramas or procedurals or things like that. So I was not familiar with the soap world. And so I was very nervous about like learning that big chunk of lines and it. My first day, when they did the blocking, I have my little pen. I'm so freaking naive. I've got like my whole script because they're like this thick,
Yep.
And I flip to my page and I'm going to write with a pencil what the director tells me. But it was literally, this floor looks like it's covered in snakes, all the cords.
That's kind of what our floor looks like right now.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And they're huge, and then it's multi-cam. It's the 3 camera process, so they could be shooting the master and the sides all at once. And then they're all moving wildly. And sometimes they had me on an apple because if I was talking to a guy that was 6'4", I'm 5'4", so I might have a scene where I'm on an apple and then march off but not fall off. So you have to get out of the way and you can't trip on the sea of snakes on the floor. So I'm trying to write because they would literally grab your arm and go, okay, you're going to say this here, and then you're going to say this here, and then you're going to go this way, and then you're going to do that, and then you're out. And oh, okay. And so I thought, what if I mess up that one line? And I was really nervous about it. So what was cool was in my dressing room, they had a TV, you had a couch TV, little snacks and stuff like that. And they said that you could keep it on channel, blah, blah, blah. And it would be your soundstage. So you could see where they were at. I found out I could also watch that 70 show being filmed. So sometimes I'd switch over. I'd watch them instead of Passions. But I was watching and I saw, it made me feel so good. There were two older, at that time, 2 older kind of famous people that came on the show. And they're probably like how old I am now, but I thought they're old, and so their memories were kind of gone. So you would see them do the scene and then they would mess it up, and you would see them pull their script out of the pillow in the couch and read it back, and then they would go again. And I thought, oh, phew, I don't need to do that. But if they screwed up like a whole paragraph, they would back up to exactly where they screwed up and keep going. Whereas in a movie, right, you just redo that whole scene.
Right. Absolutely.
Or for 1-hour procedural, they'll probably take it back a couple, paragraphs at least, but they just went and forward, because they just steamrolled ahead. So that's how you learned how to you didn't get as worried that you weren't going to screw up that whole scene where everybody had 25 big paragraph, dialogue.
Right.
You were going to back up to where you screwed up. And then the other thing I learned about with writing for soaps, you guys might like notice this now. They will write them because everybody has so much dialogue to remember. They'll write them with hints. So it might be something like, are you going to kiss me tonight? And then the guy might go, am I going to kiss you tonight? Yes, I'm going to kiss you. Like, so almost kind of,
Yeah.
there's clues in there so they won't forget what they're supposed to say, or they just simply need to listen and answer the question. But you'll see little clues like that. So
Absolutely.
I would say like within 1 month, I was just like, that's why I said I started switching it over to watch that 70s show because I was finding that more interesting.
We noticed something a little bit about that this last weekend.
I keep predicting lines.
Well, no, you keep predicting lines for one, but because the acting in a soap opera, a lot of it is legitimately wonderful acting, but you can also kind of get a vibe from some of the people if they're really hard workers and they have a lot of lines. We noticed that with the actor who plays TC. That he's fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. But I now that you're describing it that way, I can kind of feel like that
explains why some of his lines don't seem to match his.
They don't really quite seem to
acting.
match, and he seems to just kind of backtrack just a couple of lines, and then he seems to be right onto it. But he's a phenomenal actor, and even the chat was talking about it. Like he's just killing it this week. It was great.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, if you can think about that, like that you're not only worried about connecting with the other actor, but tripping and stepping angrily off an apple and crashing into those cameras that are coming in close.
Yeah.
It's like that. There's so much to worry about. But I think they always used to say this about theater actors: if you could do summer stock, then you could do anything because you're learning tons of lines all summer long, and you're just learning so much about theater and the direction of theater and all that. And so they always said a soap is the summer stock of television. Like if you could do that, then you can adapt to any genre.
I was going to make a comment earlier that soap acting seems a lot closer to theatrical stage acting than anything else because you don't have as much opportunity to just start it all over again. You have to know your lines, you have to go through it, and when you miss something, you got to go back real quick and go.
I would have never been able to be an actor. I have the worst capability for memorization, but I'm very good at thinking on my feet. So, yeah.
Well, then you would be good at improv or something like that.
Probably.
I mean, that's kind of a lot of the stuff that he does outside of the show is
purely improv.
It's he's probably one of the better public speakers I know. So, you'll argue it, but go drop our questions.
There you go.
Okay. So you were saying earlier that the house that you live in, and when we were texting back and forth, the house that you live in LA is a soap house. Is there like
that sounds funny.
Is there like a soap culture, like soap actors that just kind of like?
No, it was very, very weird. I truly believe in the law of attraction, and I always tell Paula, the lady that owns the house, that I manifested her because I've always rented a place down there, and I own my home here in Alameda, and my kids are here. They're adults now. My family's here, but I for 30 years, I've either rented a couch or slept on my cousins' couches, or actually rented a room. And so I had a room for quite a while, like 10 years. And that changed when the young lady bought a home. So I rented another room, but I don't know how familiar you are with the LA area. It was way up in Santa Clarita.
Okay.
She was a fabulous lady, really nice. But I have never felt more disconnected from the community. And I'm always in class. This is obviously pre-COVID. I'm in class. I go out with my friends. I do stand-up comedy. So we'd go to the Comedy Store. So it was just too far to be going home that late. And or if someone said, "Hey, do you want to meet up?" I got, like out the window. Oh my God, Highway 5 was like, and then I'm just gonna stay here and watch TV with my roommate. So I thought I have to get closer. So I had a mailbox in Toluca Lake. And so I went ahead and downloaded the Nextdoor app. I don't know if you guys have ever used that. Yeah, so I posted in there that I needed a room, and I put my budget, which was nothing. I thought that people were gonna like laugh me off the app. And I said, I love kids and dogs, because I thought maybe it's like multi-millionaires, that live in Toluca Lake, and it's a lot of older couples, but it's also like the new ones are coming in, like all the people that write, like the writers are the wealthiest people there. So they're gorgeous homes, and a lot of them have guest homes. And I thought maybe I could, get a guest room or an extra bedroom and help out with babysitting or walk the dogs, or
Sure.
and then that way we'd all be happy. So I put that in there. I like kids and dogs. So I had 6 interviews that day. 6 people were really interested. So a few of them were really dark little rooms and in apartment houses in North Hollywood, which I was going, okay.
I was just in Burbank 2 weeks ago. Actually, I was in North Hollywood working in Burbank 2 weeks ago.
Well, none of them had parking. And, like I said, I was born and raised in Berkeley. There's parts of North Hollywood that are fantastic and parts that are scary, exactly like Berkeley. Parts of Berkeley that are beautiful and parts that are scary. And all of the ones that I was looking at, it was kind of scary. And I'd have to walk really far, like at 1 a.m. I was thinking, I don't think that's going to work. So I get into Toluca Lake. Those were my last few interviews. And one was a man whose wife was going away for the summer, so he'd be happy to have me.
Oh,
I see. Oh boy.
I wanted to go, did your wife know that you're interviewing me? So I was just thinking, okay, this isn't going to work. So my last one was Paula, and I pull up and I was like, whoa, the house is gorgeous. She takes me up to show me the room, and it hit me. It looks over the pool and it's gorgeous. And I thought, oh no, she thought my budget was weekly. Like that was the amount I wanted to spend.
Right.
Yeah. So I go, I think you might have misunderstood. And I know, and she goes, no, I looked you up on the internet. You are on Passions. I like you.
Nice.
And she's big into rescue dogs. So we could have like a zillion dogs at one time. And I love dogs. So she needed someone that was cool with that. That was no drama. So I've been there now 6 years, and we're just like the best of friends. And we've placed so many dogs. It's not funny. We've kept a few.
That's
also.
amazing.
But I just love her. Now she works for Freeform. She writes promos for Freeform, so she can walk to work. But we're just in this gorgeous area, and I just always tell her, I go, Paula, I manifested you. Because I just put it out there. I want a safe place in a gorgeous neighborhood with people that adore me and I adore them, and that's what I got. So
absolutely,
that sounds great. That sometimes housing just kind of falls in your lap like that. When actually Cheryl and I, our last place we were in, we got 60-day notice from our landlord because she needed to do work on the house and can't do it with people there. And I think it took us until, we have 2 weeks left, a week left to actually find a place. And we had 2 dogs and 3 cats at the time. And trying to find a landlord who will rent to somebody with that many animals is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then one of her coworkers is like, oh, we just bought a house and we've got this landlord who is a former veterinarian, and she just wants to meet with you and you can probably move in. And we did, and we moved in with 3 days left. And
it's gorgeous house.
It's twice as big as what we were in, and it's $100 a month more.
Oh and it's my God, isn't that amazing? That's so awesome.
Yeah, so sometimes things just work out really well like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when where Passions helped me get the room.
That's so that's wild. Absolutely. It's
I didn't know that she looked me up. I didn't even know what she did for a living. I had no idea. And I should look for you guys in her office. So I think she worked for Sunset Beach, and it's all covered with memorabilia and from that she got that day, like when she worked on those soaps. And she has all the scripts and just lots of fun pictures and things like that from the daytime Emmys. She has 2 Emmys. We have 2 Emmys on the piano. Yeah. So it's a real fun household.
That's fantastic.
I'm so blessed to be there. It's fun.
That's really cool. Well, speaking of people looking you up, we did look you up as well on IMDb, and we saw that you've written and directed 3 shorts. It looked like is what I saw on IMDb. Where are those available? Where can people find those? Because it on IMDb it shows that they were the last 3 years consecutively, I think, or something close to that. But it doesn't really have a lot of info on it. Are those available?
Well, one was Changes. I did that during lockdown for Tracy Twinkie Bird is a casting director in LA, and she cast what's the Oscar grant? Maybe Fruitvale, I believe she cast that, but she cast like lots of big shows with like Michael B. Jordan and whatnot. And so she did a contest, and so it had to be 1 minute, including credits and music.
Mm.
And
Oh wow!
so that was one of them. That was Changes, and that's like on my Instagram, I think.
Oh, right on.
I could find it someplace. Smokeland, I had to shut it down because, oddly enough, I starred in and directed Smokeland, and I had just met my daughter's boyfriend at the time, which is he was the one. He said something to me that made me think, "Oh my God, this would make an hysterical movie." So he inspired it. I put him in the movie as well. He's not an actor. But I wrote, directed it, entered it into film festivals. We got it into the San Francisco Film Festival, and we just ended up having a blast with it.
Yeah.
It's a crazy comedy about the cannabis community before it was legal, in California. I just thought that this would be so funny, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And it ended up, I just thought it wasn't great, but I'll never forget the day we finished shooting. My daughter came and hugged me, and she said, like almost crying, she says, "Mom, congratulations. So many people say they're going to do something like this and they never do it."
Right, right.
You did it, and my son graduated from Expression College in Emeryville. It's right by Pixar. It's he got his bachelor's in animation, but he went to school with all these sound designers, and so I was able to hire all of his friends.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
I had like a $5,000 budget, but we have 3 days of using all his friends. And then when we got into the San Francisco Film Festival, it was just like so fun, So then we just laid Smokeland to rest. Well, Solomon, my daughter's boyfriend, I'm in LA, and he sends me this text, "Mom, are they freaking ripping us off?" And I said, "What?" It was a Deadline article that Smokeland, a new series about a budding funny cannabis business, and the name of the main character is Solo, and that's Solomon we named Solo, and that was his name in my movie. And I was just going, "Oh wait, what?"
So did somebody else take it?
Yep, but we don't know yet, and it's all for Freeform. So Paula works for Freeform.
Oh wow!
Wow.
It's a lady that's on a show right now, and so I ran downstairs, my pajamas. I showed her my phone, and she just goes, she goes, "Call Disney legal immediately," and because she's going to have to write the promos for that show, because she writes the promos.
Right.
So I went up to my room and I thought about it, and I thought, do I want to fight somebody about this? Because I have another show on right now on Apple Podcasts, and I felt like, so I thought, and do I even have a case? So I called a Latina attorney in LA, and she answered the phone. She was real like, what? She's asking me these questions just like that, but she was getting it out of me. She basically said, you cannot copyright a name, you cannot copyright a character's name, and you cannot copyright a story idea. She goes, we have to wait for that show to air, and if they have copied you step by step, then we have a case. Otherwise, we don't.
Right.
Wow.
And so I said, okay. So I left it at that. So I told my son about it, and he also agreed that maybe we should just let it alone because of the current climate. Just leave it alone and see what happens. If it does look super blatant, then we should go after them. But otherwise, I'm just going to let it go but it caused us. We have our show on Apple Podcasts, like I said, so it made us go in and make sure we had copyright. Like we.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
We're casting season 2, so everybody's got to sign an NDA. We're just making sure that we're dotting every I and crossing every T on our fictional podcast.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
a smart way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you get burned once, you tend to do that afterward. And I'm sorry to hear that happened though. That's It seems
So
like
weird. But
there
that's
should
what
be
I made
more
sure
they
I
could
locked
do.
it down. Like it's not available for viewing anywhere. I
Sure.
took it off Vimeo or I locked it on Vimeo, and I think it might have been floating around on YouTube because I wasn't really thinking that anyone was ever going to want to borrow this because everything became legal. It was only funny because it was illegal,
Right.
Right.
and
Absolutely.
That
so I didn't think anything about it. But
yeah, you'd think that they'd be able to do more about it because the name is the same, the
Character name is the same. The concept.
concept is the yeah.
know.
That's weird. That's so
they
weird.
changed Solo to be a girl too, so we thought they did make that change.
Right.
But Solo, like Solomon, is our Solo. It was just so weird when I'm reading this. It's just like you can't believe what you're reading. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's weird.
So after having all those experiences of making your own creative endeavors, but also having worked on other people's projects, which do you think you prefer, be behind the camera or in front of the camera?
In front, because oh my goodness, behind, like right now, just casting and producing the fictional podcast, I like better. I mean, most of the time, the only way you're going to work is to create your own content. So that's why I got doing it. A lot of agents and other writers and producers and whatnot, they're very impressed and love if you create your own content. So it's a good place to be. And now that we have, cameras in our phones and you can get beautiful lighting for cheap or cheaper, and you can create we can, and all of us, my son and I, we have the subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. We know how to do everything. And since I'm a voice artist, I'm a sound engineer as far as everybody thinks, so we're able to create a lot on our own just because we know so much more now. But you'll laugh at this because whenever I'm on set, and it's someone else's project and I'm trying to learn lines and trying to make sure, I do a good job for their project, I'm thinking, God, I wish I was modeling because you're not going to do nothing, because all you have to do is
just stand there.
smile.
Just got to stand there and look pretty.
Right. So then when I get like a big modeling campaign, so I'll go modeling, and then I'm there going, oh, God, I wish I was on set. I feel so stupid. So I think, okay, I'm never happy, but I think I like it better when it's someone else's dollar responsibility. They got to call the shots.
Sure.
I'll do my work and show up and be a good little person, but that's probably what I like about, and have my hair and makeup done. I like that. Whereas when I was doing Smokeland, I'm checking my makeup and does my top look okay? And because I'm directing it and the star of it, so that was so much pressure. So I think it's better when you just show up and do the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, if it's all right, I'd like to pivot a little bit back to passions. I got to know a little bit of juiciness. Yeah. Who was your favorite cast member that you worked with, and why?
Okay, so let me think about that real quickly. So oddly enough, I worked with very few, right? Because I was the maid in the mansion.
Crane Man,
right.
Yeah.
So you only worked with people who are in your scenes. It's not. Some people think that everybody on set meets everybody else, and that's just not.
I never met half the people. I was with Pilar and Luis a lot, and Ethan and Gwen, and I would have to say, I even forget his name, the guy that played Ethan. Oh, but the guy that's on This Is Us, his dressing room was not too far from mine, and he was sweet. Justin, I think his name is.
Justin.
I'm
I'm pulling it up.
I'm trying to remember which one. The actor's name is Justin, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. His real name, and he's on This Is Us now. And I was so happy to see that he got on a super popular evening show. But I didn't have any scenes with him, but just like in passing him on the way to the commissary or whatnot, he was super sweet. So like outside of working with someone, he was probably like the sweetest person to me, always making sure to stop and say hi. But I would say that the actor that played Ethan on set was fun. He made me feel like a contract player. He joked with me, at that level, because sometimes when recurring comes in and you're in with a big group of contract people, you really feel like you're in steerage, like on the Titanic.
Yeah.
So would that have been Travis or Eric? Because it looks like there are two people.
Eric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric. He actually he sings and performs, I think, in like supper clubs around the nation. He was really big into theater, musical theater. But Eric was the one. He was always like joking around, and when we would cut, he would make a joke about the lines that I had. You know, like because the lines are always so silly, like what I'm preparing for him, or but he just made me laugh a lot. So he made me feel the most comfortable. But also um Lisa, uh Susan Lucci's daughter. She was sweet too.
I should just pull up the IMDb.
I have it. I have it open
because
because we mostly only know him by the character names.
yeah.
She played Gwen.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Gwen. Yeah.
Yeah, she's Erica Kane, I was gonna say. But she was really sweet too. So like they had a lot of scenes together, and Ethan and Gwen, and so all of us as a group had a lot of fun. Like they made me feel like a contract player.
Okay, so
Everybody else was
nice.
polite. Everyone else was polite, but didn't make me feel as warm and fuzzy as Ethan and Gwen.
Sure.
But I had a lot with Pilar, and she was really sweet. But every day that I shot with her, she had really intense scenes. So as an actor, I know she was blocking everything out because she had to stay in that zone.
Right.
So you can't say, oh, what are you going to do tonight? She can't go there. She had to be staying in that zone. So I always left her alone.
And she's got a hard role too, because she's pretty much the moral center of the show so far as what we've seen. She's the one who keeps everything from completely unraveling.
Yeah, the glue. Right?
Yeah, so that's got to be a hard role to have to shoulder.
So
yeah,
I think the Justin you're talking about is Justin Hartley, who's now on This Is Us. Yeah. So here, I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler. He plays a character named Fox Crane. We haven't met him.
We haven't met Fox yet.
We haven't met Fox yet.
But we do have an inkling that there are other Crane siblings out there.
Oh, I know. We we do. It's one of the fun parts about doing the passion project, which is like our now obsession, is because it is very out of character for us.
Yeah, I mean, look at us. We don't look like your typical soap opera,
right? But we love it,
connoisseurs,
and we will actually call each other on the phone and talk about the show.
We look forward to watching it every other week. It's like something
that's so cool. I think that's so cool.
Can't help it.
Yeah, no. And the great thing about soaps, and the great thing about doing the show the way we're doing it, is that if somebody wants to, they don't have to go back and watch the whole back catalog to kind of get caught up. So we have new people who show up, and they just pop in and they know him from other projects, so they pop into his channel and they go, "What is this?" And we say, "Hey, stick around for 2 episodes. If you like it, you'll stick around for longer. If not, no big deal." But people just hop in all the time. So like it's
all
really,
different age ranges, genders from all walks of life, all over the world.
Yeah. We've got people in.
It's incredible because they kept telling us it was the lowest rated soap, that was going to go off any minute, and I literally could not walk through Trader Joe's in Studio City with everyone following me and wanting to know what was going to happen next. And I could honestly tell them, I don't know, because I don't.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to read that whole script so I can answer questions at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Also, I probably, we didn't talk about NDAs back then, but I bet I wasn't supposed to be saying anything.
Sure.
And my mom, who always, she was a migrant field worker, farm worker. She never watched television. She was always working 3 jobs. My father was disabled, and she came from a family of 10. My dad came from 9. She was like raising everybody. So that woman never had time for TV.
Oh yeah.
But when I got on the show, she wanted to see I was on, and she got hooked midway, because I was on 2004. She became a huge Passions fan, and she would always talk about it and want to know more. She would tell me like that about a certain person, and it was a Hispanic name in jail. And right away I'd think like, oh, what cousin is that? But it was the show. I don't even watch the show, so I don't know. I didn't know that was going on with that person.
Oh,
but
man.
she was all into it, and she wanted to know more. I don't really know. But my sister-in-law, she's Armenian. Her mom didn't speak English. She spoke Armenian and French, and they were from Montreal. When she would come to visit us, she was just so thrilled because she was like in her 80s and a huge Passions fan. And then I had all my 22-year-old bartenders that talked me into trying out. So I thought we had these huge age ranges all over
Yeah,
the world.
and
Like,
that's exactly what we have is just a
how
complete
come we
assortment.
didn't stay on the air? I don't know.
And
It's like,
it's weird. After we started doing this, I saw that there were rumblings of a cast reunion
Oh,
that are
sure.
going around, and like there's more stuff. It seems like Passions almost, at least I might be a little biased because I didn't really watch it during the run, but I'm watching it now. But it seems like it almost has more of a life after the series than before or during.
Like it's started to
Like
kind of
it's
develop
come
a
back.
cult status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, you know how like Golden Girls had like that when the college students were watching it at 3
Yep.
o'clock or whatever. And then The Office, like my kids are crazy for The Office, but they didn't watch it the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now they're really into it and they know every step, of the cast members. And they follow all those people on Instagram because everyone's still talking about The Office.
Oh, yeah.
And people are still talking about The Sopranos. Like I said, I listen to that endlessly, that podcast. But the only other thing I always thought of what was so funny when I got on, we didn't have the social media like we do. We didn't even have texting,
Right.
really. I mean, we did, but I think it was like $3 a word, sending out.
Oh,
you did it.
yeah.
Yeah, and you had to type out every letter on the 9-digit phone pad. Yeah.
So all my 22-year-old bartender friends, when they advised me, when I got it, I had to just call the boss and quit. And then, so I always thought, I figured out why they liked it, right? Because they probably all went out and got high and drunk or whatnot. And then they woke up at 2, having their right, having the first cup of coffee to watch a hella crazy show, as they called it. So I thought, imagine what they thought when they wake up one day and there's Jan, because I never got to tell them I got on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to put it on social media, and I didn't know their phone numbers to text them or, or call. I didn't have any contact. Only 2 people from that bar found me in recent years, and now we're friends on Instagram. But I thought, oh, that must have been so funny. So funny for them to go. And she wanted to be on Bold and the Beautiful.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
So you're doing an Apple podcast. Should let people know how to find you.
Oh yeah, that's so this is when it's really fun. My son's an amazing writer. It's called Surreal, and it takes place 1999 San Francisco. It's a psychological thriller drama. So 6 episodes are up and done on Apple. Well, it's on all of the platforms for podcasting, all of them. But we loaded it to Apple first. But it's called Surreal, SIR/real. And I had pitched the idea to my son a couple years ago in Tahoe, at our place in Tahoe, and he thought it sounded pretty good. And I had some ideas, but I always tell Ryan, my son, he's Lennon to my McCartney. I kind of write the silly love songs, and he puts black all over it.
Yeah.
So it's really dark. It's dark and scary, and everybody loved it. They're just like, oh my god, it's like watching on this rainy night, because it takes place with all the storms of El Nino.
Oh yeah.
But it's about a psychiatrist that I play and her getting involved in the scary stuff that's going on in San Francisco. So I pitched it to him, I think in 2018. I still had the notes on my iPhone. So like, as you guys did when we got into lockdown, we were like, I decided to, I thought we were going to be in lockdown for 6 weeks. So I thought, well, I'll go home and stay in lockdown with them. And then little did we know, we were like stuck. So we thought, let's just do it. Let's just do it. But we had to cast people. So I was teaching voiceover at the time, and I didn't have any money. So I thought, I'll just see if my students want to do it for free. And they did. But it ended up being so good. And they're really busy, and they're not actors. So they're not in season 2 for a variety of reasons, just the way that season ended. So now we're using, we've hired like Broadway actors and all that stuff. We have real actors, and so we're going to probably record and do sound design all throughout the summer and then launch it in the fall. But so that's
awesome.
what we did for 2020, and we launched it. You guys probably understand this too. Like, I found out with podcasting, you need to stay consistent to hold on to your audience.
Absolutely. That is
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest thing, is just when you say you're going to put something out, do it and keep to that
Better put
schedule.
it out, and we put out one, and then maybe a few weeks later we put out another one, and people are going, hurry up, because we need to know what's up next. And we do another one, and then some of the people that we were using had personal problems because of COVID. Like, they just were in a good mental space, and or family issues, or they were having problems with EDD, or whatever, and so I couldn't push them because I wasn't paying them.
Sure.
Now
Right.
this time I'm paying everybody and going, tracks are due and blah blah blah. So that's why I want everything to be done in the summer, and then we'll launch one every Sunday night or something like that. But
Yeah, that's a really good way to do it, for sure.
that's on Apple, or on all the platforms, and it's called Surreal. So everybody could get caught up with season 1.
And you said it's 6 episodes? And how
Yeah.
hour-long episodes, or?
They vary between 25 to 35 minutes.
Oh,
Right on.
okay.
Awesome.
That's really easy to get caught up with then.
I know what I'm checking out today.
Yeah.
They're pretty much in bite-sized pieces, but yeah, we got really good feedback. So then we
Awesome.
decided to do season 2.
That's super
That's
great.
really cool, though. I mean, it started off as something just to do, and now it's something that you want to continue. I mean, this just like our show, it started off with something to do, and now it's just taken on a mind of its own, and we just got to keep
my
doing
entire
it.
YouTube career started out with just something to do, because I was a stay-at-home dad, and now it's my job.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is the easiest way to get a hold of you is probably through Instagram?
Yeah, yeah, I'm at starjan. That's my handle.
Awesome. Well, cool.
Let's see. Yeah, trying to look at.
I think
other
the only
stuff.
one that we have left is, but we don't even know if he's still in this series. So obviously, if you're like in the middle of filming and that sort of thing, you didn't necessarily get to see a whole lot of the actors. But we are currently in the timeline of the show, right at the precipice between Luis and Sheridan finally admitting their feelings for each other, and Hank keeps getting in the way. And I'm just wondering if 3 years down the road, when we're getting caught up to about where you were on the show, does everybody still hate Hank, or is Hank not even there?
I don't even know Hank.
Oh man, that means maybe finally we'll get some relief and he'll be gone.
But it could be, that I just didn't have any scenes with him. Because like I said, even though I was in the show, I didn't watch the show.
Right.
Sometimes when I would get my script, I'd call my mom and go, "Why are they singing this?"
So and you're saying we should ask your mom then?
Yes.
Exactly. No, like I said, I kept going over to that 70s show, or According to Jim, that was the other one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was on there. I was watching that one. But I right before the lockdown, I went back to that, because that was all shot at CBS Radford in Studio City, and I went for an in-person audition for Why Women Kill. They shoot that there. And so I went to set that there that day, and I was just like, oh God, it brought back so many memories of all those years of coming, because I drive by it all the time. It's like between Colfax and Ventura, and I drive by it all the time. But to actually go on the lot again, it was like, oh wow, this is like cool. I'd love to shoot there again. I think that would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you have any particular favorite memory of your time, just in acting in general? Like what your favorite kind of the favorite situation that you ever got to be in, just as an actor?
Just that one time, I got cast in this film. The gentleman that wrote it and directed it, for some reason, thought that I lived in Sacramento. I don't know why. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom and dad bought a little tiny hippie cabin in South Lake Tahoe, and we kept it. We still have it. so I always had a modeling agent in Reno
Mhm.
Mm.
because I would do all those casino commercials when I got older, like I win, and all that stuff.
Mm.
Or, drinking the cocktails out by the pool, and they put all those things in the hotel. I always did that. I thought, hey, if I'm going to be vacationing in Tahoe, I might make some money.
Yeah.
But so that agent knew that a film was coming to town and they needed a specific part. And so she said, the director would like you to self-tape, which we weren't doing that in those days pretty much. This was 7 years ago. And so I looked at the script and I said, yeah, I thought it would be kind of cool. And so I had my son do it with me here, and we didn't do it like nowadays. You have to have like the plain backdrop like you do with
Right.
the ring lights. And I just shot it in my kitchen at the island, and I was like serving tea to my son and talking. And that part ended up being Richard Arquette of the Arquette family,
Oh,
Richmond Arquette. And but anyway, so we did a little scene, and I sent it to my Reno agent, and she sent it to Chad. And I get an email from Chad saying, thank you for the most beautiful audition I've ever received.
Aw.
And he said, I'd like to offer you the part. And I was like, okay, cool. So when we got there, it's shot in a home in Sparks, my scenes. And something, I felt a wave of something when I was done, because I was there for 2 days. I think we shot a church scene in that scene. They always do a thing of it's a wrap on like whoever's leaving that day. So it was
Right.
a wrap on Jan. And when the cast and crew were clapping as I was getting ready to get into my car, I felt like I remember shaking Chad's hand and saying, I'll see you at Sundance. And it did go to Sundance and it won in its category.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
And it was so weird that I felt that and told him that. And then I forgot about it. So that was like a really cool moment because I totally forgot about it.
Mhm.
I get an email from him that September, because I guess you start submitting in September for January. And he said, Gian, we got in. So I knew we got in. So I went, because that was the second one, a movie that I was in that went to Sundance. But the first one, I was only 18 and I didn't even know what Sundance was. I got a phone call from that director and he said, we're in Sundance. And I said, okay. And hung up. And my mom said, what was that all about? I go, we got into something like Sundance, and my mom knew nothing about, English was her second language, knew nothing about the movie industry. But she goes, I think that's kind of big.
Just a
And then
little.
that one went in its category, and I had a really tiny part in that one. But this one, I'm going, I'm not going to miss out on this. And so I went, and then they do it the final night. I was there opening week, I think, and then I left, and then it won on the final night when they make all the announcements. So I saw that cast and crew a zillion times over, because we opened at this theater in LA, and we opened at that, it continued to go to all these different film festivals, and I'd fly in for them or show
That's
up. So that
fantastic.
just ended up being so much fun, because it was just such an amazing experience. But it was really weird how on that handshake, I just kind of knew that
Yeah.
something was happening.
Nice.
So I think that was probably like the one that I remember the most.
And what was that one called?
That's called This Is Martin Bonner. So Richmond Arquette plays a gentleman that's released from the prison, and me and the other actor, we played the Christian couple that was going to help guide him. And he decided after day 2 of us, he wasn't going to none us. So he moved on to somebody else, and that's the rest of the movie. So we're in the opening movie. He's in the opening. He's just trying to be polite, going to church with us and having dinner at our house and all that. And then he was like, they're a little too straight for me. So he moves on, and Martin Bonner helps him rehabilitate and get back into the
Interesting.
civilian life.
We'll have to look that
Awesome.
up.
Yeah, definitely.
It was super fun. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm good on all of my questions that I had.
Yeah, I think that's about. I mean, this has been absolutely fun. I really
Yeah.
enjoy this. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to probably take this interview and just kind of break it up into little segments, and we'll probably be playing it
In between each
interstitials
episodes, the
in
next
between
time we're
the
going.
episodes.
And I can just put the whole thing up also on the same channel that I do the Passions clips as well.
That's true, yeah. And we'll put the whole thing up, and then probably because, we're probably going to be watching this for a long time, as we come up towards the episodes where you come in, we'll probably start bringing it back in again.
Like, now we got to watch the interview again.
So
That'd be fun.
thank you very much for...
Would you guys also like me to, if I can think of, if I know any other former cast members, do you want me to?
Oh yeah, that would be
Sure,
great.
that'd be
Yeah,
wonderful, yeah.
if anybody would like to do this, we can. I mean, we're in his home studio
Yeah.
that we do. He does all his filming in, and it's, we can set this up at any point.
It would be so cool if you get somebody that was like a contract player, because Paula, that my landlady, she told me that they just had a Christmas party on Zoom.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
that's
was
awesome.
like, I didn't get invited. But I thought I should not have. Like I said, I probably ended up in like 20 episodes out of the 7 years, or 30 episodes. But I thought, well, that was kind of cool that they had that.
Yeah.
So they're in touch. I'm not necessarily in touch with them, but I'm wondering if through a couple of phone calls, if something could happen. So
Well,
I'll keep that.
I have kind of often wondered if, like, just randomly in passing, if Galen and Mackenzie do still talk, if they're like, did you get a cameo?
They do. You know how I know that Galen and Mackenzie still talk?
Huh.
Because thanks to Jan, I'm on Clubhouse.
Oh.
And Galen
yeah.
and Mackenzie are both on Clubhouse, and they follow each other.
So
Oh, fun.
So-
I'll have to follow them. I didn't even think about that.
when we
Yeah.
requested the cameos, we were
We were a little tipsy. It was after shooting.
maybe more than a little tipsy, and we're like, we love you guys. Can you say this for our stupid show? Yeah, it was a bit much.
and Galen gave us like 6 or 7 takes.
Oh, he was the sweetest guy.
Yeah, it was
that's
amazing.
cool.
But yeah, you've got my number. So if anybody does, if they're interested, feel free to put them in
good.
touch with me. Or again, I'm on the Clubhouse as well, so you can.
And you guys are on Instagram, right? Are you?
You're on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram, Real Jeff Holiday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go. Then we can follow each
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I will get on that immediately. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
So much fun.
Absolutely.
Have a fantastic hike. What's it? Oh, and
Oh yeah. If
he'll send you the
I'll send you
Twitch
I'll send you the
address of
link
what
to
we're
the
doing.
Twitch channel in case any second Saturday you find yourself bored and want to
watch some Passions.
Want to watch what we do. So I'll send you the link to that.
I'd love to. That'd be so fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you
an
again.
awesome hike.
Yeah, enjoy
Thank
your
you.
hike. Enjoy the weather.
I will. Thank you. It's so wonderful meeting you guys. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.